Honorable members, prayers. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance to the President of the Republic. Endow members of Parliament and ministers of state with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labors of government, this land and people may be well and truly served, and thy good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. Amen. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair as it might be, a country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, a country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, a country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service and honor shall be given to the deserving, a country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. An honorable member is wearing a hat in the chamber. Honorable is contempt of the mace. Please advise yourself.
Right, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable, I've not called you to respond to me. I'm telling you something. No comment. That is the rules. I didn't even mention your name, tactically, but you want to do something else. You may wear a Muslim cap with a Muslim dress, but you may not wear a Western cap or hat, as they say. Honorable members, votes and proceedings. Page 1, 16 July. Page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8, page 9. Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, on page 9, motion number 7. I was the one who seconded the motion yesterday and not the chairman of the committee. On motion number 7, I was the one who seconded.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, on page 8 and table, you ought to be repeating the same mistake, even when the speaker so directs. I had referenced the communication from the office of the president to the speaker and to leadership and parliament that this was Aircraft Accident Investigation and Prevention Bureau. Is that the exact words as it appears in the president's correspondence? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Well noted. Page 10. Page 11. Page 12. Page 13. Page 14. Page 15. Page 16. Page 17. 18. Page 19. Page 20. Page 21. Page 22. Page 23. Page 24. Page 25. Page 26. 27. 28. 9. Page 30. Page 31. Page 30. Page 33. Page 34. Page 35. Page 36. The minutes are accordingly adopted as true record of the proceedings. Honorable members, we have 3 official reports. If July, any corrections, please? In the absence of any corrections, the official report is adopted accordingly. 9th July. 9th July. In the absence of any corrections, the official report is accordingly adopted. 10th July. In the absence of any corrections, the official report of 10th July is accordingly adopted. Honorable members. Business statement. Honorable Majority Chief Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I present the business statement for the ensuing week on behalf of the Chairman of the Business Committee, the Leader of the House. Mr. Speaker, the committee met yesterday, Thursday, 16th July 2020, and arranged business of the House for the 10th week ending Friday, 24th July 2020. Right, Speaker, the committee accordingly submits its report as follows. Arrangement of business. Right Honorable Speaker, you may read any available communication to the House. Mr. Speaker, the Business Committee has scheduled the following ministers to respond to questions asked of them during the week. Minister for the Interior, 1 question. Minister for Health, 2 questions. Minister for Special Development Initiatives, 1 question. Minister for Foreign Affairs, 2 questions. Minister for Education, 7 questions. Minister for Roads and Highways, 3 questions. The total number of questions for the ensuing week will be 16. Mr. Speaker, in all, 6 ministers are expected to attend upon the House to respond to 16 questions during the week. The questions are of the following types: urgent 3 and oral questions 13. Right Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Order 72, ministers of state may be permitted to make statements of government policy. Statements duly admitted by your good self may be made in the House by honorable members in accordance with Order 72. Bills, papers, and reports. Right Honorable Speaker, bills may be presented to the House for first reading in accordance with Order 120. However, those of urgent nature may be taken through the various stages in one day in accordance with Order 119. Pursuant to Order 75, papers for presentation to the House may be placed on the order paper for laying. Committee reports may also be presented to the House for consideration. Motions and resolutions. Right Honorable Speaker, motions may be debated and their consequential resolutions, if any, taken during the week. Mr. Speaker, on Thursday, 23 July 2020, the Honorable Minister for Finance is expected to move a motion for the adoption of the mid-year review of the budget statement and economic policy of the Government of Ghana for the 2020 financial year. Mr. Speaker, as recommended during the presentation of previous business statements, the House is scheduled to sit on Monday, 20th July 2020. Mr. Speaker, the business arranged from Monday through to Friday, 24th July, is as exhibited to the memorandum that I have read out, and I urge the Hazard Department to capture it in full as having been read. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, in accordance with Standing Order 162 and subject to Standing Order 53, the committee submits to this Honorable the order in which the business of the House shall be taken during the week under consideration. I duly submit. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Any observations, please? Yes, Honorable.
Speaker, I'm grateful. Speaker, let me begin by commending your good self, particularly leadership. As yesterday, the majority leader moved a motion for relative to the private members' bill. I'm aware of your wonderful and good works that have been put in this direction. And I, particularly whilst we have a legislative drafting office, again, by your kind courtesy, Speaker, I pray that this movement of truth will see the full cycle of it, and we'll be able to acclaim that mandate given to us by the Constitution. I'm grateful again, because a number of my questions have been admitted, but I realized that a question related to the rail sector, I think the Achimota in Saum railway lines. The question was advertised severally, and a few occasions that the minister has not been able to show up, he's called me personally and also through leadership. But I realized that as my chief read the business statement, that particular question is conspicuously missing. And because I have communication from the minister, I want to kindly find out from my chief whip what is the reason for it. Is it that they have received communication from the minister relative to the question on railways? Or there are some reasons why it hasn't been advertised? Thank you, Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Mugara.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the House agreed and adopted that we sit on Mondays, and very rightly so, as there's so much work to cover before the House rises Senate Day on the 7th of August. However, Mr. Speaker, we are hardly making full use of the time of the House. At adjournment yesterday, we were told the House would resume sitting at 10 o'clock this morning. If this, Mr. Speaker, continues, it will make it very difficult for us to meet the volume of work that we are supposed to undertake before the House rises. So I'd humbly appeal and encourage the House that we endeavor, 10 o'clock should be 10 o'clock. If we agree to meet at 11, we meet at 11. Mr. Speaker, we must not make doing business in this House take more time building a cathedral in the 13th century. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any other? Honorable.
Speaker, just to support the majority whip and to urge colleagues, in particular, that Thursday, 23rd July 2020, will be a review of the budget pursuant to the Constitution and the Public Financial Management Act, a very significant exercise in our exercise of oversight. So colleagues should endeavor, even as we are in the constituencies, for purpose of Thursday, even as we observe COVID, to be available to listen to the Honorable Minister for Finance. It may be accompanied by supplementary estimates so that we would consider and take appropriate action on it. But Mr. Speaker, just to remind, the Honorable Ras Mubarak had indicated earlier, about 4 weeks ago, about the Minister for Employment coming to this House to update us on the effect of COVID on employment, particularly how it affects the private sector. We should be looking at it. And Mr. Speaker, these were the important issues the majority leader left behind yesterday at Business Committee. Suffice it to add that he emphasized that on Wednesday, we will take two important motions, one on births and deaths, and one on dissension, and reschedule the one in respect of the Security and Intelligence Act. It's important that the second reading of this, we pay particular attention to it as a House. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minority Leader. Honorable Majority Chief Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in response to Honorable Anodombre, the question which has not been rescheduled, I think the table office will take it up and see the availability of the minister for next week or the week after next week, so that we schedule it. Honorable Ras Mubarak made an appeal, and I think we'll work with his suggestion. And the issues that the minority leader raised regarding a briefing by the health minister, probably next week when the business committee meets, it should one of the matters that should engage our attention in the course of meeting next week. All the other matters are complementary issues that he raised in conjunction with the work of the business committee. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Members, the business statement as presented is hereby admitted accordingly. We notice, however, that some of our difficulties in the mornings come from the winnowing group, who do a lot of work at that time to winnow things so that our consideration will be simpler. But definitely it should be considered accordingly. At the commencement of public business, item listed 5, presentation of papers. The following papers to be presented. A. I, Chairman of the Committee.
Report of the Committee on Works and Housing on the Budget Performance Report in respect of the Ministry of Works and Housing for the period January to December 2019.
The report is duly presented and it is for distribution. Aye.
Report of the Committee on Works and Housing on the Budget Performance Report in respect of the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources for the period January to December 2019.
The report is duly submitted and is for distribution to honorable members. B. Chairman of the Committee, Foreign Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, my information is that the report is not ready to be laid.
C. Chairman, Local Government.
Mr. Speaker, the leadership of the Committee on Local Government and Rural Development are not presently in the... So we may move to motion listed as 6.
Item listed 6, motion. Chairman of the Committee.
Mr. Speaker, we have one report that covers the motions listed as items 6, 8, and 10. So we'll take all three together. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the motions listed as items 6, 8, and 10 on today's order paper be taken down. Mr. Speaker, in so doing, I'll present the committee's report. Mr. Speaker, the report before us is one on tax waivers for Acume Energy Ghana Limited, Vesta Oil Mills Limited, and Adan Premium Diaper Care Company Limited, all under the One District, One Factory program. Mr. Speaker, Acume Energy Ghana Limited is registered as its limited liability company. It's located at Klagon, Motorway Industrial Area, Tema. The parent company is located in Ukraine. They produce lead and lead alloys, which are the main raw materials for the production of batteries. The parent company produces over 300,000 batteries per annum for the local market and occupy about 15% of that market. The Speaker, in 2018, the company made a strategic decision to expand into the international market and finally access the African market. They have chosen to set up and produce batteries for cars, trucks, buses, motorcycles, and tractors in the country. They intend to access the ECOWAS market from Ghana when they begin production under the 1D1F program. Mr. Speaker, in order to achieve its objectives, the company applied for a 1D1F status in order to benefit from tax incentives and waivers approved for the program. The company has been granted 1D1F status and has therefore some request for tax waiver to the tune of $1.2 million. The Speaker, Vesta Oil Mills Limited is also a limited liability company registered in 2002 as an oil extraction company. The company is located at Abontem in the Busumpri district of the Ashanti region. They process mainly soya beans and peanuts, presently with mechanical expellers into good quality meal for livestock and poultry, and refined for market consumption. The company's products include soya meals, soya bean oil, palm cake, and palm oil for the domestic market.
Honorable Chairman, all that being, as a matter of routine, is in the report that we all have. Please justify your waiver.
Noted, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, again, the requests are as follows on pages 4 and 5. $1.2 million for Acume Energy Ghana Limited, $814,874 for Vesta Oil Mills Limited, and $44,990 for Adar Premium Diaper Care Company Limited. Mr. Speaker, the committee observed that if implemented, a number of benefits will be derived from the proposed projects, including an increase in employment, increase in export earnings, an increase in quality of poultry feed and livestock production in the country, a reduction in the importation of baby diapers and sanitary pads, and a reduction in the importation of car batteries into the country. The Speaker, considering the benefits to be derived from the projects, the committee is of the view that the request will go a long way to boost government's flagship 1D1F program. The committee therefore recommends to the House to adopt its report and approve the request for waiver of duties and taxes for Acume Energy Ghana Limited, Vesta Oil Mills Limited, and Adar Premium Diaper Care Company Limited under the 1D1F program. Submitted, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I rise to second the motion, Mr. Speaker. And in seconding the motion, I wish to make a couple of points. Mr. Speaker, we are currently in COVID, which many countries see as a big challenge. It provides us with a unique opportunity, an opportunity to promote companies that are here, an opportunity to get them to do a lot of business, which ultimately would result in recruitments for young men and women up and down the country. Mr. Speaker, we have had the issue of capital flight for a very long time. Capital flight because many of the companies that come in here are multinationals, and whatever profits they make, they ship these profits out of the country. Now, in an era of COVID, which provides us with an opportunity, we need to support many companies that are here and doing businesses. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the number of jobs that these companies are indicating they would provide, they are quite enormous. It would get many of our young people off the streets, and that is very exciting as far as I'm concerned. Mr. Speaker, one concern that came up during the committee's meeting was the profitability of these companies over time. If these tax waivers are going to be offered to companies.
Honorable, do you have any difficulty?
Mr. Speaker, rightly so. I have an issue for Mr. Speaker's consideration. Mr. Speaker, the member who rose to second the motion. The practice, as known to all of us, is that it's members of the committee who normally second the motion. I said Mr. Speaker, this is a matter that will require your ruling, and those on the other side must keep quiet and listen, because this ruling would guide us. Mr. Speaker's ruling on this application will guide us. So, Mr. Speaker, we are guided by rule of practice and prudence. Mr. Speaker, I therefore invite you to determine whether or not a member of this House who is not a member of a committee, although he or she attends the committee sitting, can second a motion on the floor. Mr. Speaker, your ruling will guide us. I thank you.
So that if there's no other member of the committee, our business can go on. No, but if that is what you want, say, then government business will not go on. You want to arrest that business because there's no, it happens to be at any particular time. No member of the committee is present. Then we put that matter in a limbo. Is that part and parcel of your submission, please?
Mr. Speaker, I would always be guided by your wisdom. But, Mr. Speaker, it is your committee's report that is being presented to the House floor. And the committee is not made up of only one person. The Finance Committee has members in excess of 20. So, Mr. Speaker, all I am saying that under normal circumstances,
And in the abnormal one,
Mr. Speaker, in an abnormal circumstance, only the chairman will be available. In an abnormal circumstance, only the chairman will be available. That is why, Mr. Speaker, I want you to rule that in certain exceptional circumstances, Mr. Speaker, I'm inviting you to rule that in exceptional circumstances, non-members can second the motion.
Honorable Minority Leader, your observation. Honorable, please, first and foremost, Honorable Ayariga.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when a referral is made to a committee, and the committee considers the matter, and then presents the report to plenary, and it is set out as an item on the agenda. Mr. Speaker, I think at that point, we all own that document. We all own that document. Anybody who has read the document and is confident and can speak to the document, in my opinion, can play any supporting role in ensuring that that document is processed. So if the chairman has moved, and any member in this chamber who has read the document and can speak to it and believes that the chairman's motion should be seconded, can second it. If the person in the presentation clearly shows lack of knowledge of the subject matter, then of course, if somebody has an objection, the person can raise the objection. Then this matter, clearly, a friend of the committee who sat committee deliberations and is very conversant with the issues, is ably supporting the motion. And I think on this Friday that you hope to transact business expeditiously and leave so that we can go to our constituencies and monitor the registration exercise. So Speaker should not be entertaining the delay that is taking place in this chamber.
Honorable Minority Leader. Yes, then Honorable First Deputy.
Mr. Speaker, this House is governed by its rules of procedure referred to as the standing orders. May I respectively refer you to Order 81.
Order
81.
81.
81. Unless otherwise provided in these orders, every motion, unless at the second reading or consideration stage of a bill, must be seconded. Must be seconded. Mr. Speaker, my emphasis. It does not indicate who should second it. So long as you are an elected member of parliament and a member of this House, legitimate, you can second a motion. Mr. Speaker, indeed, the head note reads, motions to be seconded. So this motion is being seconded, and therefore our colleague should respect, as you guided him. If he wants interjections that frustrate government business, we can be better players at it. So let him be guided by our rules and standards.
Honorable First Deputy Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, practically, I wanted to draw your attention to Order 181 so that we can tail further debate and move on. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order. What?
Order 81.
81.
81.
Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, I cannot have a strong argument to make when I'm confronted with any rule of procedure. It's particularly so under the 81. But Mr. Speaker would agree that when this submission I so made and invited your ruling on is premised on prudence. It's premised on prudence. 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 Rule of prudence. Mr. Speaker, prudence will always, in my view, Mr. Speaker, prudence, in my view, will always override rule of procedure. And Mr. Speaker, we have argued time without number in this house that we are the masters of our own rules. So if we are the masters of our own rules, and we have, as the minority leader said, the 81 does not specify who should second. And we have elected through practice and prudence that members of committee should second. I would agree that under exceptional circumstance, we can depart. Yes, we are not bound, I agree. But, Mr. Speaker, whatever it is, my application cannot be dismissed as lacking merit. It lacks merit because whatever ruling you would give will guide the future conduct. For anybody to suggest that it is aimed at perhaps obstructing government business, Mr. Speaker, no. In this chamber, we are waiting to enrich our understanding of parliamentary jurisprudence, and no one should be limited in that regard. Mr. Speaker, I have no problem if I lose this application. I have no problem. But the record will have it. The record will have it that the Efutu MP, on a day like this, raised this all-important matter. And Mr. Speaker, Hansard will be my witness. I'll rest my case.
No. We've gone beyond that stage. No other member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
No other member. No other member. The minority leader has spoken. The first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Hey, Honorable, you don't seem to hear me. This is a very simple matter. Motion. Member may second. Under normal circumstances, a member would automatically yield to a member of the committee. Just for the sake of good order, they did their thing and they have presented it. Once a report is presented to this honorable house, let us make it very clear that the report becomes the property of the house. And a member may move it accordingly. The business efficacy rule itself, since you want us to be practical, will not allow a good thing to suffer just because of some procedural matters that others are insisting upon. Nevertheless, 81 settles it in clear terms. It is the privilege of any member to second. It is not reserved for a member of a particular committee per se. Honorable Mubarak, you may continue.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much. And in conclusion, I would urge my colleagues to support the motion as this gives more jobs to the young people of this country. I thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. Honorable members for your... Yes, Honorable Anot Prayer.
Speaker, I thank you for your kindness. I rise to support the motion and to make these few comments. First of all, it's important for us to recognize that this feeds into government's overarching policy of industrialization. And I am aware of many occasions where we've given such tax regimes and support and holidays to boost business growth, to create jobs, and to open up the economy. Speaker, paragraph 5.5 of your committee's report, though, talks about the fact that the committee observed that most of the projects to be undertaken are intended for export. And when you read on, I think two of the companies, the Akun Energy Ghana Limited and the Vesta Oils Limited, in exception of Adan Premium Diaper Company Limited, are oriented towards export. I am particularly aware of the existence of the free zone concept and the free zone authority. I'm not too sure if the Finance Committee reverted their minds to the existence of this regime where companies intending to export 70% plus of their export outside the country stand to benefit by the Free Zone Act, stand to benefit some tax regime and some waivers already. So kind of wondering, even though I support in principle the motion and I want it passed, I'm not too sure if the free zone, resorting to the free zone concept would be a best and a better alternative, comparing it to the 1D1F opportunities that are associated with it. So I want to find out from my good chairman, Dr. Makesibe Oyabua, if it is important or it will not be out of place for us to say that, okay, the two companies could be distinguished out, particularly the Akum Energy and then the Vesta Mills Limited, which is oriented more of export. I think about more than 70% of their product is going to be exported outside the country. So hence it becomes more relevant that these companies rather resort to an already existing free zone concept, which is much more attractive and relevant in this context. And then maybe the last one, which is the Adan Premium Diaper Company, could go ahead and assess the tax waivers that are associated with the 1D1F concept. Speaker, thank you for your audience.
Yes, Honorable Madam, and then leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to support the committee for the waiver of tax for these companies. Mr. Speaker, my interest is in page 4 of the committee report, Adan Premier Diaper Company Limited. Ever since I came to this house, this is the first time a company from Adan is in a list to get a waiver for its company. And I'm so happy to see it, and I will urge that members support it so that the youth of Adan can get employment and work in this company. The company started its work in 2015 and 2016, but along the line, the work stopped because of financial constraints. And if today they have been considered, then I'm so happy. Mr. Speaker, apart from that, they will need financial support so that they can expand the company and employ so many people. So I'm happy, and I urge the whole House to support it. And I'm pleading with government to support this Adan Premier Diaper Company to expand so that it can employ many people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Yes, Honorable Minority Leader.
I speak myself for the support of the motion. 1G1F is a flagship industrialization program of President Dankwa, which is not just for production but jobs. Mr. Speaker, mine is just revisions. One will appear to be a correction. Paragraph 3.3, line 2, it reads, Adan Adar Premium Diaper Company was established and commenced its business on the 11th of 2016. It is a manufactured company. Manufactured. I'm sure you want to say a manufacturing company, but I see manufactured there. And then, Mr. Speaker, may I respectively refer you to paragraph 4. But before I do so, the Honorable Arnold Domprey have raised an important issue, and first, Mr. Speaker, is the committee to avoid a double count of the enjoyment of double exemption of taxation. But what cures is concerned is that if these companies are not registered under the Free Zones Act, Act 504, then legitimately they are entitled to these exemptions by virtue of Article 174 of the Constitution. But what we should do is to avoid them if they are Free Zones company, because, Mr. Speaker, I have the Free Zones Act here. It says in Section 21, non-application of import laws to free zones, except as, no, Mr. Speaker, I want to quote Section 22, exemption from taxes of import into free zone areas. Subject to Article 174 of the Constitution, the imports of a free zone developed subcontractor or enterprise into a free zone or single factory zone are exempt from direct and indirect taxes and duties. So ours is to ensure that they don't double claim. But I want to assume that those companies, I don't have the facts, are not free zones companies, except by their definition and character. He is right. Where a company is producing for purpose of export and is required to export up to 70%, then necessarily it qualifies to be a free zones entity. Therefore, we should not take for granted the concern that he has raised. The committee should do a thorough. So instead of even calling for collaboration with Ghana Export Promotion Authority in paragraph 5.5, they may want to add the Ghana Free Zones Authority instead of just leaving it to the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, because they are also interested in that. Mr. Speaker, may I now refer you to paragraph 5.4 and listen to the Honorable Chairman and the Honorable Ras Mubarak. This is what the committee observed. The committee observed that if implemented, a number of benefits will be derived from the proposed projects, and I quote, increase in employment. Next time, they should give us indication. Each of the companies at their premium, how many persons are they considering to recruit? Vesta Oil Mills, how many persons are they expecting to recruit? And then Akum Energy, we should have the numbers, even if it is a projection. You cannot just say that they are going to contribute to employment and it ends there. The justification for them benefiting from this tax exemption is the fact that they will contribute to, one, the growth of the economy, and two, to employment. Now, Speaker, further in the same paragraph, increase in export earnings. What are we anticipating? Will they increase our export earning by $1 million, $2 million, 500,000? Let's see what the projections are. I see quality of poultry and feed. That one I won't be able to comment on. Mr. Speaker, let me conclude by referring you to paragraph 5.7. Paragraph 5.7 of your committee's report. And Mr. Speaker, it reads, in response to how many companies under the One District, One Factory program are fully operational, the committee was informed that a total of 234, Mr. Speaker, would demand a breakdown of the 234 so that it will fit into the president's vision. It said one district, one factory. If we have an over-concentration of 10 of these factories in a particular area to the detriment of 0 in other areas, then we have a duty to remedy it. So if you say 234, let's have the distribution countrywide in districts and in regions to appreciate how we are contributing to the success of this program. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, again in paragraph 5.6, support from Exim to Vesta Oil Mills. The company observes that Vesta Oil Mills is sourcing for the credit support from Exim. Be definite. Have they been given Exim support or not? We need to know, because Exim came for $100 million Swiss support and indicated that private sector companies were to benefit. when you put it this way, we don't know whether with certainty they have benefited or they have not benefited from it. Mr. Speaker, with these comments, I support the motion.
Thank you very much, Honourable Majority Leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to also support the motion and encourage members to do same. Mr. Speaker, into the 14th of the emergency meetings held on 3rd May 2019, this House approved to one district, one factory secretariat of such waivers, and also put in a caveat that at any material term that each approved or satisfied industry is to enjoy such waivers, they were to take all the duties and also bring it to us for approval. And Mr. Speaker, that is exactly what the Ministry of Finance through the 1D1F has done, and we are giving such approval. Mr. Speaker, as the 1D1F has been a flagship project for this government, purposely to ensure that we add value to our raw materials and also create job opportunities. Mr. Speaker, if you read the report, all these factories are using local materials, soya bean, palm kernel, waste batteries, and so forth and so on. I believe that when we continue to support such local industries under 1D1F, using our raw material sources, some time ago I knew that soya bean became very important commodity. Glut situations reduces the prices at the market point. It doesn't motivate and encourage farmers to expand growth of such commodities. Mr. Speaker, with such support to our industries for them to take and add value, we encourage our farmers to do so. Waste batteries, Mr. Speaker, is an environmental issue, and some of these activities is an effort to control and manage our environment as well. Climate change, which is a challenge, we can take advantage of some of these things and then make sure that our factories work well. Also, though in trying to play around this World Trade Organization and also ensuring through such strategies, we can also support our local industries without infringing on any World Trade Organization policy or laws, because through 1D1 and the availability of funding for such factories to work. Casa Precum is a very big and one of the leading Ghanaian registered companies. They deal into carbonated and non-carbonated products. Mr. Speaker, if we had done some of these things for Aztec fruit processing, which started fruit processing in this country, including mineral water, if such facilities are being in existence, Aztec wouldn't be a defunct company today. But Aztec is also being listed under the 1D1F. And I think that this House, we must support some of these initiatives and encourage the 1D1F to do so. I believe that the issue raised by my colleague, Honorable Anodompre, about the free zone, under either putting companies under free zone or companies already under free zone, must really be checked. But the beauty of the 1D1F is the availability of funding that other banks and international banks are supporting government, making such fundings available for local industry. Mr. Speaker, the paramount distilleries, either to being held by DIOC, was defunct. Today, Casa Precum has gone to purchase such a facility. They are building the facility for them so that they can produce more toward the coastal belt and also during the northern area as well. I thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, at the conclusion of the debate, all those in favor of the motions numbered 6 8 and 10, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it, and the motions are adopted accordingly. Now we shall move on to the resolutions numbered 7, 9, and 11. Honorable Minister for Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I seek your leave for the Minister for Tourism to move the resolutions on behalf of the Minister for Finance.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that that resolution 7, 9, and 11 on today's order paper be adopted now. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Seconded. Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Honorable members, all those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it, and the resolution is accordingly adopted. Can we move on to 12?
Item 12. Mr. Speaker, item 12, listed as 12, motion. The Vice Chairman of the Committee on Energy will move the motion on behalf of the Chairman.
Chairman,
thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the motion listed as item 12 on pages 8 and 9 of the order paper be taken. And in so doing, Mr. Speaker, I present your committee's report. And because we are not in normal times, I will ask that committee to capture the report in full. Mr. Speaker, the reports were distributed to us, all members, yesterday. Yes, it was distributed yesterday. All the reports.
Yesterday.
And, Mr. Speaker, I will urge the Hazard Department to capture the report in full as I give out the essence of the report. And these excerpts are very crucial and important for the committee to read. Mr. Speaker, I will move straight to the observations. And it has been captioned, the benefit of SRC leases. The committee was informed that the government intends to raise the non-debt capital of approximately $5 million through initial public offer of shares between June and July of this year, after having missed the original January 2020 as well as that of the May 2020. The proceeds from the IPO is intended to fund infrastructural developmental needs of the country. The ratification, however, of the leases is thus critical in raising investors' confidence in the transaction and overall success of the IPO listing of SRC Royalties Limited. Mr. Speaker, on the aspect of health, safety, and environmental sustainability, the committee observed that adequate provisions have been made in all the leases to safeguard the health and safety of the workers and the people living in the affected mining areas, as well as the protection of the environment as required by relevant laws, including minerals and mining regulations, safety and regulations 2012, LI 2182, and environmental assessment regulations 199, LI 1652. The Speaker, committee was also informed that all the companies have posted their reclamation bond pursuant to Regulation 23 of the Environmental Assessment Regulations, and have also acquired all the relevant permits required for mining operations in the country. Mr. Speaker, on the aspect of local contents, the committee was largely impressed about obligation imposed on the contracting mining companies under the agreement to prioritize the employment and training of Ghanaians, as well as the procurement of Ghanaian goods and services in their operations in accordance with Minerals and Mining General Regulations. The committee was informed that the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, in collaboration with the Minerals Commission, has issued a procurement list containing about 28 items, including catering services, bolts and nuts, grinding media, processing of the ore, and explosive, to be assigned solely to Ghanaians.
Honourable Chairman, your recommendation.
In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the committee has thoroughly examined the content of the leases and is satisfied that the provisions therein meet the requirements of the grant of the mineral rights under the relevant laws of Ghana, such as the Minerals Mining Act 2006, Water Resources Commission Act 1996, and Minerals and Mining Regulations. The committee accordingly recommends to the House to adopt its report and ratify the of the Constitution and Section 5(4) of the Minerals and Mining Act 2006. I respectfully submit, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairman. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the report. But, Mr. Speaker, in so doing, I want to draw Parliament's attention to what I think, if we do not take a second look at, may be akin to a dereliction of duty by Parliament. In the observations and the background and the rationale for ratification of the leases, a certain Asase IPO is being introduced.
A certain
Asase IPO. An IPO, initial public offer, for a special purpose company, is being introduced as the rationale for justification. Mr. Speaker, we have a constitutional obligation as Parliament under 268 to ratify leases or otherwise. The Mining and Minerals Act also imposes an obligation on this House to do this. When you have a constitutional obligation and you have an obligation arising from a Parent Act, we should not justify this by some other reason other than the constitutional obligation interstate. Parliament, unfortunately, has not lived up to this. Some of the leases are 20 years or more in operation without the ratification. And this is what I think should concern Parliament. The justification for ratifying these leases is the constitutional obligation in 268. Having said this, Mr. Speaker, I support the ratification. Thank you.
Thank you very much. One from each side, leadership. Otherwise, shall we conclude the debate? One from each side. Minority to start. Minority to start. Then a response from majority. And we put the question.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I wish to make an observation with respect to the report that has been presented. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the report, I think paragraph Mr. Speaker, the report makes reference to an initial public offering as occasion for the need to ratify the mining list. Mr. Speaker, this is a very cursory
reference to an initial public that is supposed to serve as the basis for the ratification. And Mr. Speaker, I think that in the interest of transparency and accountability, we should have had the further and better particulars of the initial public offer provided either as an appendix or an addendum to this report, so that members of parliament are apprised of what is happening, so that we can more easily be, able to undertake our constitutional duty with the full complement of the information. But the reference to the IPO without more, I think, is not sufficient in the interest of transparency. So, Mr. Speaker, I urge the House to insist that the details of the IPO be made available. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to support this report, and in so doing, to say that what the honourable member on the opposite side just said will be done. As we speak now, this is just the beginning, the beginning of the process. After the ratification, yes, they'll move on to the IPO issue, and for transparency, it will be brought for perusal of this House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. I'll put a question. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Resolution. Item 13. Honourable Minister. Who moves item 13?
Mr. Speaker, I seek the indulgence of members to allow the Deputy Minister to move the resolution on behalf of
Very well.
Substantive.
Yes, Minister, you may.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that items listed as resolutions 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26 on the order paper should be adopted. I so move.
Yes, Honourable Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to second the resolution ably moved by the Deputy Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
I put a question. All those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Yes, have it. Resolution is adopted accordingly. Honourable Leader, where do we go from here?
Speaker, we may take item listed 30. That's the
item
listed 30. Consideration of the land bill.
The first Deputy Speaker will please take the chair. Honourable members, item 30, Land Bill 2019, at the Conseil. Yes, Chairman of the committee, where are we? Now, I noticed there's clause 3, the way to continue, the name of the Honorable Majority Leader, but I don't know.
Right Honorable Speaker, we'll start with amendment advertised as X on page 34. On the other paper, and we'll go up to 245, clause 245, no, clause 254.
Honorable, you want to which page for the other paper?
Page 34, right?
Page 34. And then item Roman numbered what?
X.
X.
Yes.
That is clause 235.
235, yes.
Honorable Chairman, you may continue.
Clause 235. Add the following new subclause. 6. For the purposes of this section, public body means an organ of state, a state institution, a department, or an agency that is not a body corporate.
Honorable members, for your consideration. Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, I'm in full support of the present amendments. And Mr. Speaker, we realize from the bill that this definition does not feature yet in the interpretation section. And so because it has to be defined, when we get to the interpretation section, it will be taken care of. So I'm in full support.
Honorable members, for your consideration. And I'll put a question. All those in favor of the amendment say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Any further amendment on 235?
No, sir.
I'll put a question on clause 235 as a whole. And that is clause 235 as amended, substantive part of the bill. And all those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. 236.
Unlawful occupation or sale of public land.
Chairman of the committee.
Clause 236, subclause 5, line 1. Delete has unlawfully occupied or encroached, and it said unlawfully occupies or encroaches. So the new rendition will be where a person unlawfully occupies or encroaches on, or, Mr. Speaker, with your leave, interferes instead of interfere. So the next word will be interferes with a public land.
Yes, Chairman. You had moved item XI.
XI.
Right.
I moved.
Very well. Yes, honourable member for.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I support the amendment. Indeed, it's in conformity with our drafting style that we adopted in the House to draft in the present tense. So I'm in full support, Mr. Speaker.
All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no.
The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Item XII.
Clause 236, subclause 6, opening phrase. Line 1, a trespasser, and insert the person.
All in favor? Yes. All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Item XIII.
Right Honorable Speaker, item XIII and XIV, they all have the same amendments. It's consequential. Subclause 6, paragraph A, and then paragraph C. We have the trespasser, which we seek to delete and insert that person. And further in subclause 6, paragraph C, we insert, that person, please.
All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Item XIV. Can move according to the other paper, and I'll pull the question.
Clause 236, subclause 7, line 1, after agency, insert or a duly authorized agent of the appropriate agency, and in line 2, delete agency and insert agent.
First, I'll put the question on XIV because I didn't direct that address persons to it. So, on XIV, all in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Now, XV, that's what you just moved. All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Now, item XVI.
Clause 236, subclause 10, paragraph A, line 1, delete a person authorized by and insert a duly authorized agent of.
All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye.
Aye.
All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Item XVII.
Clause 236, subclause 10, paragraph B, lines 1 and 2, delete a person and insert the appropriate agency or a duly authorized agent of the appropriate agency. And Mr. Speaker, we have the same consequential amendment in 236, subclause 10. That is the XVIII.
Subclause 10 is subclause 10B and C, right? Okay, so the question is all in favor of the proposed amendments to 236 subclauses 10B and C. Say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendments are carried. Now, item XIX.
Clause 236, subabove, paragraphs A and B, rearrange as follows. A, to obtain an injunction against the development of the land, and B, stop the encroachment or development of the land.
Yes, Honorable Member for South Day.
Mr. Speaker, my difficulty with this provision is that it is not necessary for us as Parliament to enact the law and say that where there is an encroachment or there's an unlawful development on land, you may commence a court action to obtain an injunction against the development of the land.
Because my humble view is that once you institute a court action in respect of unlawful development on your land, the circumstances of the case and the relief that you seek will be such that the court will exercise its discretionary powers to grant you an interim injunction if the circumstance of the case requires that you do that. So for us to, by statutory provision, state that you have to do that, for me is unnecessary. But read that what we now seek to make B, which is A in the bill, that is to stop the encroachment or development of the land, that can stand. Because that is why you are going to court. But implied in the institution of the court action is the fact that the court can exercise its discretion to grant you what we call an interim injunction or an interlocutory injunction, depending on the circumstances. So that's my humble submission.
Zasante Achim Central.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and we agree that on the face of this, the B appears to be an interim injunction, interim measure, and then the A appears to be a more permanent one. And that's why we had agreed that we have to juxtapose B to become A and A to become B. That is the only reasoning behind it. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm in support of the proposed amendment. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, this matter was raised and dealt with. And, Mr. Speaker, we all do know that in the CI 47, the CI 47 permits a person to institute an action. And in that same CI 47, it also allows a party to an action to bring a motion, either ex parte or notice, for an interim injunction. So, Mr. Speaker, that is exactly what we are trying to do here. And, Mr. Speaker, the A talks about encroachment. Encroachment may not necessarily be development. So it's trying to distinguish between encroachment and development. And the B talks about an injunction. So, Mr. Speaker, we want to make it abundantly clear and put it out that apart from a party instituting an action against the encroacher or the trespasser, these are some of the reliefs that the party can also institute. Mr. Speaker, when you institute an action, the party who has instituted the action must take a practical step by filing a motion to restrain the other party from carrying out what the plaintiff in this case doesn't want the respondent or the defendant to do. Until and unless you do that, or you bring that matter to the notice of the court or the judge, the court or the judge will not be in a position to know what you as a plaintiff doesn't want the defendant to do. So, Mr. Speaker, I think that A, B, C are properly situated, and for which reason they should not be touched.
Very well. My reading of it gives me the impression that you want to limit what a party other than the state, what he can go to court to seek. Either you seek to stop the encroachment or development, to obtain an injunction, or to prevent a sale. Is that the intention? That as a policy, you want a party other than the state who is appropriately the owner of a public land to have only 3 remedies: either to stop the encroachment or development of the land, to obtain an injunction against development, or to prevent the sale. But it appears to me that A and B are the same. To stop the encroachment or development or to obtain an injunction. But we want to avoid a situation where a person going to court to claim title to this parcel. Otherwise, he would have no interest, or you will not have capacity to bring an action. Is that my understanding? Let me listen to the one who's opposing it first.
Mr. Speaker, the understanding is that when the condition triggered in the belly of the bill is when the condition in the belly of the bill is triggered, you are being given we are indicating to you that you can take these steps. And my position is that once the law mandates you to take a court action in respect of the unlawful activities occurring on your land, it is by rules of court that you proceed. And pursuant to, for instance, Order 25 of CI 47, provisions are made for you to, given the peculiar circumstances of the case, to apply for any of the interim reliefs, i.e. interlocutory injunction or interim injunction or whatever interim relief you may seek. So for me, it is implied in A that the action you are taking is to stop the unlawful activity. So I agree that A should stay, and what is in C now should also become B. But we should take out B. We should take out B. That's my point.
Yes. Chairman of Commission on Constitutional and Legal.
Speaker, I may agree to some extent that A and B appear to be the same. But instead of taking out A, because if you say to stop the encroachment or to obtain an injunction, the purpose of an injunction is to thoroughly put a stop to what is taking place. So I would rather say that we should rather maintain B, but include encroachment in B, so that you read to obtain an injunction against the encroachment or development of that, so that C becomes B, and then we take out A.
Well, I also have a problem with the inclusion of an injunction. The end is to stop. The means by which you stop is the injunction, one of them. It could be by other means. But if you limit it to injunction, you limit the party to just one of the processes by which you may stop the development. So I think A, rather, to stop the encroachment or development of the land, by which means you do it with all the area of processes available to the person in court. So I think the A, rather, should stay, and the B should go, but C may also stay. Yes, Honorable Member for Asante Achim Central.
Mr. Speaker, I made a point earlier, and I think your directives, you were confirming that there are so many means of stopping the encroachment. And then there are several laws that also provide that there should be an injunction. And to me, this is an interim process. It appears that the injunction and interim process, just what one would have under A. And therefore, I would want to suggest that for the avoidance of doubt, we should maintain the truth.
No, interim injunctions are they not discretionary? So if we legislate for an order which is discretionary, I think we'll be overreaching the courts. Yes, Honorable Member for.
Mr. Speaker, it's certainly my point that once we legislate like this, then we are tying the hands of the court that necessarily that has to be granted. So we normally will leave this in the hands of the court that, given the peculiar circumstances of the case, you can grant an application either ex parte or notice in respect of an injunctive relief. So the court will exercise its discretion given the affidavit evidence available. But so for me, the B is not necessary at all. At all. At all.
Yes, Chairman. But you see, what is before us is redraft of the A and B. Is that what is before us? One, to obtain an injunction against the development of the land, to stop the encroachment or development of the land. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I agree that the A should stay, the B should go, and the C will also stay. So you can direct the drafters to do so. Thank you.
In that case, do we need the proposed amendment? So rather, the proposed amendment is to delete B, delete 12B. Is that right? Yes, as appears in the bill, and then the rest can stay. Chairman, Constitutional Legal, what do you think?
I would rather wish that, just as you earlier on said, that A is more comprehensive than B. So there could be other means or modalities of stopping the encroacher. So, Mr. Speaker, despite the proposed amendment, let's maintain A and then C, and then delete B.
So that I'm directing the draft persons to delete B, or no, I'm putting the question. And the question is that subclause B of clause 12, no, is rather subclause 12B of clause 236 should be deleted. All in favor say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Now you may proceed to XX.
Clause 236, subclause 14, line 3, before corporation, insert public. So it will read the third line, or an organ or agency of the state, or a statutory public corporation.
Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, I'm in support. This is because in the same bill, we have encountered private corporations. So it's important that where we encounter corporations, we indicate whether public or private. I'm listening.
All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Now the question is clause 236 as variously amended shall stand part of the bill. All in favor say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 236 as amended shall stand part of the bill. Clause 237.
Lands Commission to act on behalf of the state.
There's no advertised amendment to 237. All in favor of 237 being a part of the bill, say aye. All against that say no. The ayes have it. Clause 237 is ordered to stand part of the bill. 238.
Availability of funds for payment of compensation.
Clause 238.
Yes.
Clause 238, subclause 2, line 1, delete where and insert despite subsection 1, where. And in line 3, delete make and insert have and approved. So the new rendition will be despite subsection 1, where the intended user is a ministry, department, or agency. The ministry, department, or agency shall obtain cabinet approval and have an approved budgetary allocation for the payment.
All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Now, all in favor of clause 238 as amended, being a part of the bill, say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 238 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 239.
Compulsory acquisition procedure.
All in favor of clause 239 being a part of the bill, say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 239 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 240.
Declaration of land intended for compulsory acquisition.
Amendment proposed. Chairman.
Clause 240, add the following new subclause. 3. Subsection 2 shall not apply where there is a dispute in respect of the land. Mr. Speaker, with your permission, we drop the 4 and replace it with a new amendment. And I read, despite subsection 2, the Lands Commission may, for the course before the expiry of the 2-year period, or within the time that the court may allow, apply to the court for extension of the period, and the court may extend the period for a further 1 year only.
That is 240. A new proposed amendment.
Yes.
Very well. Honourable members, is for the consideration of the House. All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Now, clause 240 as amended. Yes, Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, I've seen that in 242, there are 2 amendments which do have not been captured yet. But it's something that we've been doing. The 8 in line 2 and then the 8 in line 3. Mr. Speaker, I believe if you direct the draft person, they'll be able to put these pronouns and possessive pronoun in their correct perspective.
Very well. The draft person shall take note of the 8 in line 2 and 8 in line 3 of 242 and make the appropriate corrections. Now, clause 240 as variously amended shall stand part of the bill. All in favor say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. No, sorry, clause 240 as variously amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 241.
Preliminary investigation.
Amendment proposed. Chairman. Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, since we are at the consideration stage, may I seek your leave to raise something at 238? 2382. Mr. Speaker, what we had agreed for 2382 is to replace ministry, department, or agency with the words public body. So the new rendition would be, despite subsection 1, where the intended user is a public body, the public body shall obtain cabinet approval. That is the correction I seek to make. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Chairman.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I agree.
Very well. All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Now I'll put a question on 238 again. And the question is, clause 238 as amended shall stand part of the bill. All in favor say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 238 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now, did we do clause 241? Clause 241, Chairman.
Clause 241, subclause 1, paragraph B, line 1. Delete and insert the following. Dig through the subsoil for analysis.
Honourable members, all in favour of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment. Yes, Honourable Member for Okaikwe Central.
Mr. Speaker, this is not to take you back. I don't know if the clause advertised, clause 33, has been taken, and whether we are taking it to the second.
We deferred that. We will discuss.
I just wanted to know.
Yes. It's a matter which I know you are interested in.
This matter. That's why.
So I'll encourage you to stay till the end. At the end, we will return to that.
It's getting cold, Mr. Speaker. Very well.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I want to assure my brother that I have his back in this matter.
Very well. Item XXIV.
Clause 241, subclause 2, line 2. Delete 1 month and insert 30 days.
All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Item XXV.
Mr. Speaker, clause 241, subclause 3, line 1. After person, insert authorized by the Lands Commission. Mr. Speaker, we have the same in subclause 4, line 1, in SXVI. And, Mr. Speaker, back in subclause 2, line 1, 2, we omitted it, but we still have a person there, which will also be amended. We have to add the authorized by the Lands Commission in subclause 2, line 1, after persons. So it's consequential. And in subclause 3, we further amend line 2 with delete into and insert upon.
Very well. All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Item XXV. XXVI.
Mr. Speaker, that was the consequential amendment after person.
All in favor of the motion for amendment say aye. Against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. XXVII.
Clause 241, subclause 5, line 2. Before damage, delete there and insert. So it will read on an entry under subsection 1, the authorized person shall pay for any damage caused.
All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Now clause 241 are variously amended. Shut of the bill. All in favor say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 241 are variously amended. Is ordered to stand part of the will. Clause 242.
Notice to interested person.
Clause 242. Head note. Delete interested person and insert person who have interest. So it will read to persons who have interest.
Honourable members, all in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Item XXIX.
Clause 242, Clause 1, line 3. Delete interested or claiming to be interested. And it said, who have interest or claiming to have interest. And in line 4, delete those of them that, and it said, any other person who.
Yes.
Speaker, it makes sense, but it just occurred to me that if we did it in the singular, it will be more elegant than doing it in the plural. So, Mr. Speaker, I just want to render a little amendment to what the chairman had just proposed. So, to where decides to acquire land under this act, the Lands Commission shall give notice as specified in Form 2 of the 5th schedule to a person who has an interest or claims to have an interest in the land, or to any other person that after reasonable inquiry may be known, or to any other person that after reasonable inquiry, and it will still take care of the plural.
Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, I'm in support of Chairman of Constitutional Legal's proposed amendment. It conforms with our drafting style in the House. Thank you.
All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. Yes, is it in relation with the same clause?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Very well.
Mr. Speaker, earlier the chairman made a proposal to amend the head note, but having drafted in singular, I am tempted to propose that we go back to the original, which is notice to interested person. The head note, because we changed it to notice to persons who have interest. And if you are drafting in singular, then I think we have to go back to the original rendition. Thank you.
Yes, Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, we want to avoid interested person. That's why we change the rendition. So I agree that you should put in the singular, except that I will want to propose that you should read notice to a person with interest. Notice to a person with interest. Okay.
Yes, it's for the consideration of the House. All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Now, is it the end of 242? No. Very well. Item XXX.
Clause 242, subclause 5, line 2 and lines 2 and 3. Delete a newspaper circulating in the locality where the land is situated, and it said a daily newspaper of national circulation.
All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Item XXXI. Yes, Honourable Member for Conquest.
Mr. Speaker, the chairman just moved his amendment and said a daily newspaper of national circulation. I know we've been using a newspaper of national circulation or a daily newspaper. Must it be a daily newspaper or a newspaper of national circulation?
I think now the daily has been introduced to be sure that people don't miss the days. So a daily newspaper. Right. If you're a weekly, you don't qualify. All right. So item X, yes, Honourable Member for Wako Central.
Mr. Speaker, I think we also have to be forward-looking. This electronic era, IT, fast change. We may get there one day and then there will be no daily newspapers. And I don't know what will happen to this law.
Cyber security. Of cyber security.
Item XXXI.
Clause 242, subclause 6, line 2, delete 12 months and insert 1 year.
All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Now I'll put the question on clause 242. The question is clause 242 as variously amended shall stand part of the bill. All in favor say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 242 as variously amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 243.
Land to be demarcated, surveyed, and entered on register.
Yes, Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, just oversight. If I have your permission, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to go back to 2423. The second line, the use of the possessive dear, Mr. Speaker, if you direct the right person, they know what they have
242.
2423. Notice under subsection 1 shall be served on a person claiming to be interested, should even read on a person who claims to have an interest, in the land, or be left at the last or usual place or abode or business of the person. Or business of the person. Yes.
Who claims to have an interest? All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, with your kindness, I may want to go back to 2413.
Let me finish with 242 now.
Right.
Now 242 as variously amended shall stand part of the bill. All in favor say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 242 as variously amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now 241.
Mr. Speaker, 241(3). The first line, and then in the third line, we agree to delete a person and insert an authorized person.
24113 does not have a third line.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. The 2413, the first line.
Okay.
We agree to delete a person and insert an authorized person, staff, or workman shall not enter upon any land or premises except with the consent of the occupier.
Yes.
Then in 2414 is consequential. We agree to delete a person and insert the same words as I have said. And also in 5, sub 5, we agree to delete a person and insert words which is consequential.
So 5, yeah.
So the words would be unauthorized person, staff, or workman. There.
So what's your complaint? What didn't we do?
Mr. Speaker, we omitted these amendments, and I'm under attention that we
241.
241 subclause 3. The first line, the new rendition would be without prejudice to subsection 2. An authorized person, staff, or workman shall not enter upon any land or premises except with the consent of the occupier.
Very well. All in favor of the proposed amendment? Yes, Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, just to tweak it a little by the omission of the indefinite to be substituted with definite, because Mr. Speaker is referring to an authorized person captured in 2411, that is the preamble. The second line, a person authorized, and the staff and workmen. Mr. Speaker, that explains this amendment has been proposed to the extent that a person has been mentioned in 241 already, I would want to propose that we omit the and then insert the, so as to make it definitive. That is in 3. And
So
then
instead of an authorized person, the 2 and the 3 and 4 should be the person.
Yes.
Very well. The authorized person. All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Yes,
Mr. Speaker, subclause 4 is consequential. So the new rendition would be, despite subsection 3, the authorized person.
I have put the question on all of them.
Oh, very well, Mr. Speaker. And then on subclause 5, should read the authorized person, staff, or workman. So the new rendition would be on an entry under subsection 1, the authorized person, staff, or workman shall pay for any damage caused by the entry.
Very well. All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Now clause 241 as variously amended shall stand part of the bill. All say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 241 as variously amended is already part of the bill. Now we're on clause 243, right? Clause 243.
No amendments.
Yes, I'm waiting for it to be read. Clause 243.
Land to be demarcated, surveyed, and entered on register.
All in favor of 243 being a part of the bill, say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 243 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 244.
Consultation with stakeholders.
There's no advertised amendment to 244. All in favor of clause 244 being a part of the bill, say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 244 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 245.
Report of consultation.
Amendment proposed. Chairman.
Clause 245, subclause line 3, delete situated and insert situate. Mr. Speaker, the next phrase, and any person, is repeated here, so we only deleting situated and then replace with situate.
All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Clause 245 as amended shall stand part of the bill. All in favor say aye. All against no. The ayes have it. Clause 245 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 6.
Further service.
Chairman.
Clause 246, subclause 3, read draft as follows. A person authorized under subsection 1 shall not enter any premises unless that person has first sought and obtained the consent of the occupier of the premises, or upon failure of the occupier to give consent, the person gives the occupier 14 days notice in writing of the intention of that person to enter the premises.
All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Now clause 246 as amended shall stand part of the bill. All in favor say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 246 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 246. Yes, Chairman.
Okay, just a minor amendment. In 2463, the first line, enter into, should just be enter, instead of enter into. Enter.
There's no enter into. No, the proposed amendment says, person authorized under subsection shall not enter
so
in the
three.
247.
Withdrawal of state from acquisition.
Yes, Chairman.
Clause 247, subclause 1, line 2, delete notification and insert notice. So the second line will read.
Chairman, okay. All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried now. Clause 247 as amended shall stand part of the bill. All in favor say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 247 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 248.
Information on land use of scheduled land.
Now, Chairman, before you move, honourable members, having regards to the state of the business of the House, I direct that the House sits outside the regular sitting hours. You may move it, your motion now.
Clause 248, subclause 1, paragraph A, line 1, delete scheduled land and insert land scheduled for acquisition.
All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Item XXXVI.
Clause 248, subclause 2, line 2, delete 1 month and insert 30 days.
All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Now, clause 24 amended shall stand part of. Yes, Chairman.
Speaker, just once we've amended schedule land to read land schedule for acquisition, the Speaker, if you permit me, I want same to be captured in the head note of 248. So that 248, the head note to read information on land use of scheduled land for acquisition, will add for acquisition. That is the amendment we effected in subclause 1, because we didn't want the scheduled land hanger. That explains why we sought to add for acquisition, so that the head note will also capture sale.
Not the same. Information on land use of scheduled land. And this one is scheduled land, land scheduled for acquisition. Mr.
Speaker, the original rendition in 248A, Mr. Speaker, says that whether the scheduled land, and the scheduled land, Mr. Speaker, is obviously the land that has been earmarked for acquisition. And we didn't want scheduled land alone to be hanging. We wanted to qualify scheduled land with acquisition so that it will be beyond doubt as to the particular land being spoken about. That informed, Mr. Speaker, the amendment we've just effected. And I want same to be captured in the head note, because the head note also says scheduled land. And obviously we are referring to the same land, earmarked, which earmarked for acquisition. So I want for acquisition to be also reflected in the head note, so that upon reading the head note, one will not be in doubt as to what the head note or the provision is talking about.
So, what is the proposed text? Information on land use of land scheduled for acquisition? Then it cannot be. It should be information on use of land scheduled for acquisition. Right. Okay. So, all in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The amendment is carried. Now, I'll put the question on clause 248 again. The question is that clause 248 as amended shall stand part of the bill. All in favor say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 248 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 249.
Publication of executive instrument.
Yes, Chairman.
Clause 249, subclause 2, add the following new paragraph. But Mr. Speaker, with your leave, I want to amend the advertised amendment. The district I want to replace with area. So the proposed amendment will be subclause 2, add the following new paragraph. Be announced on a local radio station within the area where the land is located.
All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Item XXX VIII.
Clause 249, subclause 5, line 2, delete ineffective and insert of no effect. And in line 3, delete voidable and insert void.
All in favor of the proposal? Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, I recall that yesterday we agreed to use null and void, and not just void. Very well. Void, very well. Okay.
All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Now, clause 249 as amended shall stand part of the bill. All in favor say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 249 as amended shall stand part of the bill. Clause 250.
Interested claimant to submit claim.
Yes, Chairman.
Clause 250. Head note, delete and insert claimant.
All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Now, clause 250 as amended shall stand part of the bill. All in favor say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 250 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 251.
Service of notice.
Clause 251, subclause 1, line 4, upon and insert on.
All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Yes, Honorable.
Just a minor amendment 250, 250 subclause 2. We agreed to amend a person to read a person. A person 252. And I haven't seen it captured in the order paper. 252, a person, so it should be the person. Because in 251 we refer to a person, so the 2 will be the person.
Very well. All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment now. Clause 250 as amended shall stand part of the bill. All in favor say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 250 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 252.
Service of notice.
Yes, Chairman.
Clause 252, subclause 1, line 3, delete scheduled land and insert land scheduled for acquisition.
All in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Item XLII. Chairman.
Clause 252, subclause 2, delete and insert the following. Each notice shall contain a description of the land specified in the instruments as published in the Gazette under Section 233.
Honorables, all in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Now, clause 252 as amended shall stand part of the bill. All in favor say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 252 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 253.
Assessment of compensation.
Yes.
Speaker, I plead that we end the briefing stage at this clause, but that's exactly where the winnowing T got to. So if we can.
You didn't get to 253?
No.
Very well. That brings us to the end of consideration of the Land Bill 2019 for today. Honorable Leader, any announcement? Otherwise, I'm bringing proceedings to a close.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, just to remind members that flowing from the Business Committee report that was adopted earlier, the sitting starts next week on Monday, and also to remind members that the mid-year review of the budget statement and economic policy of government for 2020 will be moved on Thursday. So members should take note of these two announcements. Mr. Speaker, we're beyond 2 p.m. and therefore we are in your hands. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Yes, Minority Leadership.
Mr. Speaker, I think some members have raised very serious welfare matters that the whip has glossed over.
Welfare.
I say, members of the winnowing committee, serious welfare matters that you have glossed over.
Mr. Speaker, the honourable member want to mourn more than the bereaved. Just to also remind the winnowing committee that Monday there will be winnowing. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, I'm bringing proceedings to a close. The House is adjourned to Monday, the 20th of July, 2020, at 10 o'clock in the forenoon.